It's 93.3 WMMR, and the great pleasure of the company of John Bon Jovi happens for us right now. Good day, John. Excellent, excellent. And obviously, congratulations. Tonight, you're going to be in our town to accept this wonderful Marian Anderson Award. It kind of celebrates the power of the artist to change the world, and you will be at the Kimmel Center, and just I think a really, really cool, certainly well-deserved award for you. You're the first rock person to get it, but what was your reaction when you heard about it?
Well, I was humbled. I didn't know a lot about it, to be honest with you. And anyone who knows the work of the foundation, that knows Mimi Box, who runs it for me, and Sister Mary, they said, "Are you kidding? This is a big deal here in Pennsylvania." But more importantly, they said, "Go back in your history lessons and read up on it, and in turn, look at who else has received this prestigious award." And when you realize you're in the company of Maya Angelou and Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte and James Earl Jones, Oprah, you think, wow, this really is special.
Gregory Peck, Harry Belafonte, as you said, Danny Glover, Quincy Jones, Berry Gordy, James Earl Jones. I mean, it's Richard Gere. It's a very heavy list.
Yeah, there's I think 15 or 16 prior recipients, and it's a special night there to celebrate the good work of the foundation and to take the opportunity for me to say thank you to all of those who gave me the opportunity to make that difference.
When you look at the basic purpose of the award, which is the artist and their impact in terms of making the world a better place, you know, your inspiration for just helping in this city started, well, there are other things you had done, but one of the most impactful moments was when you were in your hotel room looking out on the homeless folks below, was it not?
That is a fact. I was looking out of that gilded cage at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and I saw a man sleeping on a grate in the dead of winter, late at night. And I called my dear friend Obie O'Brien up, and I said, "You got to find me the right person in Philadelphia because I need to address this homeless issue." And it all came together for me in and of that moment. I thought, didn't matter if you were young or old, black or white, Republican or Democrat. You know, this homeless issue could hit everyone and anyone. And then, of course, you know, I was lucky enough to meet Sister Mary and the Michael Jordan of the homeless. And for 10 years now, Sister Mary and I have done a lot of things together, and it's been fabulous.
Well, you know, your touch has gone to several areas around the country and certainly in this region, but Philadelphia has been particularly blessed. It started because of your work with the Soul and you being here a lot and then saying, if I'm going to be here, I've got to make an impact here. But even after your involvement with the Soul stopped, your efforts most certainly did not. In fact, I would say they doubled, tripled, quadrupled.
I was able to spend even more time on the foundation's work. While Craig has carried on with the team, I was able to focus my efforts on the foundation's work. And not only in Philly, as you stated, but whether it was in Camden or Brooklyn or Los Angeles or Detroit or Houma, Louisiana, wherever the need is, we seem to be able to go. And now the Soul Kitchen, of course, in Red Bank has been very well received. And we're even expanding that into a couple of pop-ups, places still devastated by Sandy, and we're about to launch what we hope will be a big hub, which will include the new Soul Kitchen in Toms River, New Jersey.
If somebody doesn't know what the Soul Kitchen is, could you explain it?
Sure. It's a model that was really created by my wife, Dorothea. Our menu is quite simply doesn't have any prices on it. But whether you or I go there and we choose not to participate, we ask that you leave a minimum donation. And if you leave $20 on the table, it pays for your beautiful 3-course meal, which is all linens and silver and waiters and, you know, all nutritious, no fried foods, no hamburgers, French fries. So it's nutritious and it's proper portions. And should you choose to participate, you can not only be fed because you've been empowered and earned your meal, but you have the opportunity to pay it forward and bring your whole family back just by volunteering. So after 3+ years at our current location, we're feeding about 50-50 of our population in need and those who are paying. You know, it's not a pay what you want. That has been a misconception. Just to make that clear, a minimum donation for those who choose not to participate is asked. It's $10. But if you leave $20, you have affected change. You can realize it immediately right next to you.
You know, there's nothing. We do the big food drive, as you know, with Preston and Steve, and that's starting up in just a few weeks now.
Yep.
And they do a huge blood drive in the summer. We try to do all kinds of community stuff and have here over the 46-year history of the station. But, you know, I don't think, as you said earlier, Republican or Democrat, I don't think there's anyone in this crazy world where everybody disagrees about everything. I don't think there's anyone who couldn't agree that feeding a person or giving blood or these most basic services to keep a fellow human alive and healthy, who couldn't agree on that?
Well, I would hope that that is the case. Believe me, we have run into more than one politico who shows up for a photo op, you know, or a volunteer who comes, goes through orientation, and then says, that's not for me. So believe me, there is the human element. But at the core of all of our beings, you want to help your fellow man, and that's what we're trying to do. It's not one size fits all. The mission changes almost daily, but as we adjust and the in-need population increase, we're on that mission. We need to get the job done.
Is there a website people can learn more?
Of course, the JBJ Soul Foundation will lead you to what we do, building houses, and that in turn will take you to the Soul Kitchen, because the jbjsoulkitchen.org is also its own independent site.
Now, the Soul Foundation, again, if someone doesn't know about that, can you give a brief explanation of what it does?
We've addressed breaking the cycle of poverty, and whether that was through homes, mixed usage homes, kids that were aging out of foster care, patients that were in need of HIV and AIDS treatments that needed a place that was sheltered so they could get to hospitals. So it was shelter. But it was more than shelter, and why our model differed from some others is that I was taught very early on by Project Home that service providing was at the core of it. And so you have to teach a man to fish, not just give him a fish. So job training, service providing, as well as shelter, and then ultimately it led us to the food issue. And these are the basic human needs, and I've been saying the same sentence for nearly 10 years now. We didn't need a scientist to find the cure. We just needed the sweat and rolling up the sleeves.
We're speaking with John Bon Jovi here on MMR, who will tonight receive this wonderful Marian Anderson Award. One more thing on the Soul Foundation. It wasn't too long ago you were in our town dedicating a huge new block of housing that came about, you and Sister Mary, and you can see it if you're driving north on Broad Street, JBJ Foundation, and it's a huge complex. You know, and when you started, you know, with looking out the window at that one homeless guy and saying, I've got to make a difference, to all these years later, completing a huge block of housing, what was your feeling on that particular day when you guys dedicated it, you and Sister Mary?
There's so many people that were involved, Pierre. I mean, we just feel that we're a part of something, a part of a puzzle, that there are a lot of dedicated individuals who not only work there on a daily basis, but there are those who contributed other monies besides the foundation's money. There are huge people committed to Philadelphia, like John and Lee Middleton, like Mr. and Mrs. Honickman, you know, like the Roberts family. So their money enables us to build these places. My personal money as well, but nonetheless, everybody does something. Mayor Nutter is committed to ending homelessness in Philadelphia. He's come out publicly and stated that. And of course, when he says something like that, Sister Mary puts it up on billboards, holding his feet to the fire. But God bless the mayor, he's there. He's coming round. You know, former Governor Rendell, who, you know, history tells the story, once had a dispute with Sister Mary when she first was starting Project Home with Joan McConnon. He's coming to tonight's celebration because he's a part of it, because he contributed to it. He really has gotten turned around and became a big supporter of Project Home and about the homeless issue, and he addressed it head on. President Clinton came in and launched the Soul Foundation. He's been there since. He's been back to the Soul Kitchen. He's supportive of the issue. So many people make for tonight's celebration. There are so many others that are a part of this award tonight.
When you look at other artists that have inspired you, that have created social change, who comes to mind?
Paul Newman took a little thing that he was concerned with, a kids' camp, and turned it into Newman's own. Currently, in somebody who I greatly admire, I think Angie Jolie is doing the Lord's work. You know, I think she stands up and she's thoughtful and she's got her hands on the mission. Of course, those who have been celebrated before me, I think their resumes have spoken for themselves. But there are a number of really involved. Leo DiCaprio is very involved in the environment. There are a lot of active. Sean Penn, look at how passionate he was. So there are some celebrities that really know how to get their hands dirty. They're not just there for the photo op.
We're speaking with Jon Bon Jovi here on MMR tonight. He receives the Marian Anderson Award. A couple little things, that's a big thing. But you recently actually stopped by, I think it's called the Lake House Music Academy in Asbury Park, and you were, in effect, the teacher. You spoke to the class. I think they played a few songs for you, a few Bon Jovi tunes, or they played "Living on a Prayer" or something like that. But what was that like for you? Because you're talking large things that we've just been discussing, but here's a really small moment where you can impact these kids. What was that for you like?
Chapters in my early career began in Asbury Park after the heyday and before the Second Coming. And so when I go back there and see this re-energized music community, I have to be honest with you, I didn't think it was possible. And when I went down there and was just using the rehearsal room one day, I ran into this guy. He's a little younger than me, but a grown, older guy. And he told me he started this school, and I thought, yeah, okay, this is nice. If you ever need me to come back. And it was sort of in passing. And he took me up on it. Then I went back there, and I saw that there are kids from Mommy and Me classes that are like 2 years old up to adults who are older than you and I. Both older than you and I, male and female. Everybody playing music for the pure love of music. And it was really inspiring. It was really great. It gave me hope again that kids might find the guitar for the right reason and not just the answer to what do you want to be when you grow up? Famous.
Right.
Well, famous for what?
On American Idol or something.
Well, even that. I mean, they do. I just can't stand when a kid doesn't even have a talent. Says, what do you want to be? I want to be famous.
Right.
Well, famous for what? I wanted to learn how to play the guitar and write a song. That led to fame, but I didn't want to grow up to be. It wasn't because I wanted to be famous.
Right.
These kids are learning something that I told them. The one piece of advice I said is learn your instrument, love your instrument, because it'll love you forever, regardless of what you do with it. It'll be your best friend forever. And these kids inspired me. It was great.
Speaking of inspiring kids, I know this was not something you ever intended to get public. You did not send out press releases, but it did get out when last summer this young boy named Mario, who's had a huge fight with cancer ever since he was born, with 4 or 5 inoperable brain tumors, in and out of Children's Hospital here in Philadelphia. And though so committed and still living on, I think, about 11 or 12 years of age, that he has an Alex's Lemonade stand that he ran at a firehouse in South Jersey. And all he wanted in this world was to meet you. And I posted these on my Facebook when it came out, because it's so inspiring to see that little kid's face. And he had no idea. And all of a sudden, you didn't publicize it. You just, one vehicle pulls up, you hop out, and the hug that you give him and the smile on your face and then the smile on his face is Niagara Falls. I can't almost even talk about it without crying. That was such an impactful individual moment. I know you didn't do it for publicity, but it's so inspiring to me that you cared enough about that kid.
He was great. He really was great. And his grandfather with the Italian accent, and the mom, and the dad, and the joy that you're able to give a kid like that just by going down to a little carnival at the firehouse. It was a great morning. It was easy. It was a few hours to get down there, and so what? I loved it. I had a great time.
Well, I was talking with Pat from the award ceremony about it, and he said, Pierre, why don't you invite those folks? So I did, and they're coming tonight.
Fantastic!
So
there you go. That just brightened up my day.
Cool. And the Mario and his brother, I think his name is Lorenzo, and his mom, Anna, are just thrilled. So they're coming over. And
I look forward to seeing them. That'll be great.
Will be part of the evening tonight. Just a couple quick questions on a few. Do we have time for 2 more?
Of course.
All right. Everyone was talking about the Buffalo Bills thing. Can you give us an overview briefly of what happened?
How everyone that knows me knows how much I love the game, and then how much I love the business of the game. And the Soul was by far the most successful arena team in the history of the Arena Football League, and we left it with a championship and made our mark. And when I got out of that ownership, I looked at it as my school years, and since that time, I have been focused on getting into the NFL, and I put together a partnership group, and we did, in fact, try to buy the Buffalo Bills. You know, I mean, we didn't get it, but I guess $1.1 billion just doesn't buy what it used to.
Why don't you buy the Eagles? We'd love to. We need you back in this town.
I would love it more than life itself. I would move to Philly full time, but unfortunately, Jeff Lurie loves his team, more than anything, and there's no need or reason for him. He's a great owner. It's a great organization, and one I would emulate. So it didn't work out for me. I have a new bumper sticker that I'm wearing on my forehead. The pity party is over. I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself. It's time to move on. My broken heart will mend.
A couple of years ago, when you guys played the new Giant Stadium, whatever it's called now,
yeah.
I was up there, and afterwards, you and I were talking. You said, "Pierre, I got to show you the New York Giants locker room."
Yeah.
So we went in there, and you and I took a picture of that.
Yeah.
And Obi, your right-hand guy, says, I said to him, "Do you think I can post this on the Philly website?" He goes, "You're out of your mind. You'll be run out of town on a rail." So what we did is we took the picture of you and me in the Giants locker room with all the blue there, and then we morphed it, and our graphics guy made it all green and made it into an Eagles locker room.
Perfect.
And we posted both of them so that people could, get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Well, your Eagles will be just fine. Nick will be back. Sanchez is hanging in there, and, you'll be just fine.
Will you try another team?
As long as it's geographically sound. I don't want to leave where I live, so it's got to be somewhere on this side of the world.
Okay.
And, yeah, given the opportunity, I'm standing by.
Another thing is musically, what are you up to? Will the band continue on in terms of recording, and are there plans for that?
I'm writing. Again, I didn't have the wherewithal to write this whole year. I was really focused on football. But it's coming back. I'm actively writing. I'm just starting, but I've got a few. And 15 will be about recording, and 16 I'll put something out.
Cool. Is it okay to ask you about Richie, or would you rather not talk about it? I'll cut it
I
out.
just don't think there's anything to say. He quit, and no one's heard him since. So, God bless him. People think it's a life sentence being in a rock band. It's not. He quit, and that was that. It's not for me to say anything other than that. He's entitled to do what he wants. It's not his obligation. There's no obligation. If it doesn't move you anymore, you have the right to leave, and he just happened to do it on a show day and never called us again. But there was no reason. There was no fight. It certainly wasn't about money. I'll swear that on a stack of Bibles, and he'll confirm it. But that is not the case. And then he just left. And there was no way that I was going to, break up the band. Why would Dave or Tico need to suffer, and why would I have to suffer? And the record company doesn't care, and the touring company doesn't care. And, it's okay. It's not a big deal.
When you still had a gigantic tour. Aside from that, with Phil X filling in.
Well, he had to fill in, God bless Phil. He was able to play the next day because he had done it once before. And I have no ill will, and I really don't. I've written great songs with him. I love the guy. I'll always admire the guy. And it's okay. It really is, folks. It's okay that, he's chosen to go on his own. It really is okay.
Is that a formal thing, though? Did you guys...
No,
okay.
I don't. There's no need for a contract. He's not obligated to. There is no... He doesn't own any of it. It's not what it is.
Well, just like, say, all right, I really have left, or is the door open for him to return should he desire?
Sure, but, I'd be hard-pressed to, so would David, so would Tico. It'd be a lot for us to, after a year and a half and you miss 80 shows, I don't think it's possible.
Well, the thing that was struck me as inappropriate about it, it's one thing to say before a tour, you know what, fellas, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go out and give you time.
I hold no ill will. Be clear. I don't want to take anything out of context.
No,
I love the guy.
I don't think that you are. It just, the only thing that struck me is what we do in this life is we do what we say we're going to do.
No judgment here.
All right. Anyway,
I
love him too, but my only rub is that you had started something and
I
and
understand,
pulled out.
but
right.
no judgment.
Got it. Last thing I will ask you is your side band, the Kings of Suburbia.
Yeah, that's fun.
They're so great and they're so fun. Any appearances we could look forward to?
It's just a goofy thing. No, that's not even. that's just a reason for me to be able to still sing and to play when I'm not doing anything. I love them all. It's a treat to play with all those great musicians and circulate different ones in and out. It's just a cover band. It's just going back to the bars. I mean, there's no plans to make a record or anything like that.
There's a lot of people in that band.
Yeah.
We saw Stevie Wonder. He was in town Sunday night, John, and there were 29 people on stage. He did songs in the key of life, and he didn't synthesize any parts. Every part was played live. 3 percussionists, 2 drummers, 6 horn players, and more, and a small orchestra.
God bless him. It's great. Look, Stevie's still doing it for the love of music. That's why I'm saying this doesn't have to be about a big machine. If you want to make music in your house, great. If you want to make it solo, great. If you want to make it in a successful rock band, great. If you want to have 29 people, great. That's the joy of having picked that thing up in your bedroom alone when you were a little boy.
The very last thing I want to ask you is you will enter tonight, and you will sit in a box, somewhat like the Kennedy Center.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, that's what I understand. Wanda Sykes is the host.
Really?
Yeah. Estelle, Grammy-winning singer, is there, the All-American Rejects, and a young man who has benefited from the Marian Anderson Awards and has been funded in some way will also perform. So it's going to be really cool. But my question to you is, because you don't like to stop and pat yourself on the back, for you it's always, all right, next.
Yeah.
Will it be hard even for an hour or so to sit in that box and receive these accolades?
Well, if I'm in the box, at least I don't have to wear pants. I'm just going to sit up in the tuxedo top.
Excellent.
Oh, I didn't know you get to sit in a box. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
it's a long day, my friend.
I know.
That much I do know. It's a long day.
Well, this is not a cheesy event in any way, shape, or form. Gregory Peck, the legendary actor, when they were taking him to the airport, he turned to Pat, who puts the whole thing on, and said, I have never, ever been acknowledged in as nice a way as this.
Oh, nice.
So you're in for a great treat. It's certainly well-deserved, and thanks for taking a little time to talk with us on the day of.
Thank you, my friend. I look forward to seeing you and Mario and Lorenzo tonight, and all our friends that will share in this with me. Thank you.
Excellent. John Bon Jovi, thanks for talking to us on MMR.
Okay, buddy.
All the best to you. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, pal. I'll talk to you later.
I'll see you later. Bye.